So obviously the whole universe leveling system is kind of strange, and there's a couple of different ways I think you can translate it. I think it's more a problem of how they're wording things and how Dragon Ball Super has since it came out, ambiguous with the way that they word things and not being clear on stuff, especially with power levels, scaling, and now with this universe leveling system that Zeno has. They call them mortal levels.
Well, I think the other thing is hindsight on this argument. It's going to be 2020. It's one of those things where, like I was saying before, never before have we been this up to date with Dragon Ball, especially in arguing thoughts and theories. I mean, when it was coming out and we were in schoolyard days, arguing with friends on the buses or whatever, even in the infantry of the internet, you could still look up what it said in Japan, right? Like, it was
exactly.
Like, yeah, no, that's just a weird dubbing thing. Like, yeah, Bardock, father of Goku, was not the genius scientist that designed the fake moon that the dub says, right? And then, no, in the original, that's not what happens at all. That was just something that the dubbers threw in to try and make it climactic and attempt to throw back to his heritage that he knows nothing about. So, pretty much in every argument that any Dragon Ball Z fan has been able to do within the last 10 years, almost 20 years, we could look to the internet, fan magazines from Japan, or stuff like that, and kind of see what they have to say about it, because they came out already. So by the time we're seeing stuff, it's already explained fully.
Yeah, almost live. Like, you can basically watch it live now.
Right. It's one of those things where it's like, well, okay, but what does Japan say about it? Because Japan knows before us. Like, we don't know what Japan says. Japan only knew 2 hours ago. We looked it up. It's Japan saying nothing about it, man. So, like I said,
it's like, this is what the subtitles said, but...
Right. And then it's like, okay, well, was that a fan sub or was it the official sub? It's like, well, it's the official sub that Crunchyroll and Funimation put out.
Exactly.
They just keep saying mortal level and nothing about morale or righteousness.
Well, they don't even say... Well, they imply, or they lean more toward the strength power stuff than the actual morality, although there are points to be made and arguments to be made that they are talking about morality, but it seems more toward strength level.
Right. It's kind of one of those things where I look at it as, I thought it was strength and level, because anytime you hear about levels, Dragon Ball Z, it's always raw strength.
Or
it's
mortals
how strong,
in general.
Yeah, what's their level?
Average level.
What's the Broly Team 4-star movie? Hey, what's your power level? Is it high? Like, that is, when you talk power levels in Dragon Ball, you're talking strength. You're not talking righteousness. And even then, like, the argument that people made is like, right, and, like, some people are more righteous than others, and blah, blah, blah. And, it's like, okay, so what you're telling me is if it's morality and righteousness, and Beerus is complaining about that, Beerus was going to go around and teach people how to hug each other?
Yeah. Well, that was for the Supreme Kai to do.
Right, that was for the Supreme Kai to do. But the Supreme Kai wants to leave people to learn their lessons on their own, which, hey, where did I hear about Supreme Kais teaching other Supreme Kais to let the mortals do whatever because they have to learn on their own?
I feel like it starts with a Z and ends with a Chan.
And it wasn't even just their universe, but, like, not Universe 7 even. Not Universe 6.
I feel like
that was a lesson that we
number
just learned in the last arc.
Zami-chan?
Zami-chan! He needed to learn to be nice to the mortals because they'll learn the heirs of their ways and not to force it and just kill them all when they don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound mean to anybody that thinks that. I just did not come to that conclusion, and every argument that I hear that comes to that conclusion, I'm like, I don't feel like it was worded that way, and I think there is an argument to be made, but it's like, I feel like you're grabbing one word out of that sentence and blowing that up just as much as I'm grabbing words from one sentences with my crazy fan theories and blowing that up.
Well, either way, it doesn't really make sense or add up. This whole average level, mortal level stuff, if it's morality, level of morality, then they should have said level of morality or moral level, not mortal level. Because when they say mortal level, it implies
that it's the mortals. It's how strong the mortals are.
Exactly, yeah.
Not how good or righteous they are. I keep feeling like, it's the strength of the mortals. Like, Goku is immortal. He's not an immortal. He's not a god. He's not an angel. He's a a mortal.
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with if he's a nice guy. It has everything to do with the fact that he's mortal.
My main point is that the wording is weird, and it's making things almost seeming like they're purposefully making things ambiguous for the audience.
Which I get. I get that, because, hey, listen, if nothing else, you want to know if your show or product is popular? Are people talking about it? Is it causing a discussion? Obviously it is. This is causing a discussion. And it's one of those things where I never even heard the morality level thing. I watched it and instantly thought, oh, okay, it's like power level. And because Universe 7 only has like 10 semi-strong guys, you know, that's throwing off the average of billions, trillions of people compared to, you know, Goku and Vegeta at like a 10 and billions and trillions of people at a 1. You average that out with, you know, like Gohan and all the rest thrown in, and you're gonna get like a 3-point something, because that's how numbers work. That was instantly where my head went.
Right, exactly.
Other people went in a different direction, and when you brought it to my attention, I was like, really? Like, where? Let me see where these people are saying it. And listening to some of the stuff online, I'm like, okay, I guess. But that wasn't the conclusion I went to, but everybody has different conclusions.
Exactly.
And as I said, hindsight's going to be 2020 on this argument.
Because when, yeah, exactly. When we're watching more, then it's going to become more clear.
Anyway, like, I just feel like this argument is one of those things that, like, people are getting very passionate about randomly.
Yeah.
And I feel like this argument does not deserve that level of passion.
Yeah, it's not even that important. It's like, the point is, there's 4 universes that aren't participating. They're exempt, and they can't even enter. So that's the point, the end. Like, there's no point in arguing about it.
Right. Eventually, you know, to do a different argument there is like, eventually, you know, instead of us thinking that maybe cigarettes are bad for us in the 40s, we're going to learn in the 70s and the 80s that cigarettes are bad for you.
Right.
And then there's not going to be a point to this argument of, are cigarettes bad for you? You know, that argument will be exempt, because then we'll know. So it's the whole, right now we're in, you know, we don't know yet. Nobody's told us clear out what it is. And I feel like arguing the extremes and yelling at each other, at anyone about it, is going to be like, it's easy to say you were right now and you were arguing the whole time, but there's no reason to be mean to each other over a theory in Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, it's all, especially with Dragon Ball Super, with how unclear they are on everything and not explaining. Like, it's almost 80% opinion based.
And, you know, as we know from Toriyama, he writes by the seat of his pants, and he forgets a lot of what he writes.
Yes.
So, while he might declare something now, in the future he might change it.
So, basically, and we watched some videos and stuff like that, and I'll link 1 or 2 in the description talking about the whole mortal level thing. But basically, we still think, even after watching the videos, we still think that it's more implied toward power level.
And, hey,
average power level.
Hey, that's just like your opinion, man.
It's the dude. But if anybody has like some more concrete evidence or anything that like was stated in the series that we might have missed, you know, just link it in like the comments or whatever, man. But anyway, guys, give us a thumbs up and a subscribe if you like the channel. Check out some of the other videos.
Say that, hey, I miss Daniel, bring him back. I miss his cool and smart voice, and he has great ideas. Because I get just as disappointed as you do when you see videos that he puts up and I'm not in them.
I'm trying to pump up the more content.
Pump it up.
The jam?
Exactly.
Alright, everybody. See y'all later.
Bye.
Hey, what's up, guys? I just wanted to add a little tidbit to the end of the video here, because after recording, I thought about it a little bit more. And either way you look at it, it doesn't really make sense. But I've started to kind of come to think about it as more of a prosperity thing as opposed to just a moral thing or just a power thing, but more of kind of a combination of the two with overall happiness and kind of success, I guess, which also doesn't really make sense with the way that they were wording things and the things that they were saying, but it seems to make a little more sense than just a moral thing or just a power thing. Because if it was just a power thing, then the universes with a higher moral level would most likely win. And if it was just a moral thing, a tournament doesn't really make sense to determine which universes will be erased and which not. You would think that Zeno would just keep the ones with the higher level. Instead, he's having them fight it out to see which ones are stronger, basically. Which is another reason to think that it is based on power. But I feel that the whole prosperity thing and the combination of moral and power levels makes the most sense, I guess, even though it doesn't entirely. But of course, it'll become more clear as time goes on, like we said. But thanks guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel to see more in the future, and we'll see you later.